everybody, it's Girly Pants. Welcome aboard. Just give me a minute though, if you don't mind. I just need to load this up on the computer so I can see what's happening. And I just saw a bright flashy light, so let's see what happens. Right, we're looking at the roof again. Dear me. Oh, you'd think we'd have that bit right now, wouldn't you? There should be a little button. Is it this one? There we go. We're all there. Brilliant. Ha ha. I am so happy about that. Hey Elizabeth, how are you darling? That's okay, darling. As you stay as long as you feel like it, and we'll see what we can get done today. And just see if we can get some more light just in this corner. Now I think I've. Oh, thank you. I think I've got the zooms sorted. So just in case you missed it, this is. I know what I need to do. Give me 1 second. I keep throwing myself off because the sound was on the computer. Oh dear. So this is the book, Colour to Create. I only paid like, I don't know, $10 for it or something in a supermarket. Nothing exciting. Let's see if we can get this up a little bit higher. And are we still in shot? Oh, awesome. Well, I hope you wind up having a fantastic day. Just get a little bit more height on this camera. See, we're going low tech now. It's a telescopic tripod. Less hassles with Zoom that way. Oh dear. Alrighty. So, will it focus, autofocus? Come on. Autofocus. Come on, autofocus. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I will get this right in 2 seconds. Are we any clearer? It is actually HD, so I don't know. But let's try and jump into it anyway, and we'll see if we've got this Zoom thing sorted out today. So, apparently if I use my volume button, I can zoom. Well, that's what the camera was doing earlier. Let's try going the other way. That screen resolution's really bad. It's supposed to be high def. Let's try again. I'm sorry for moving the camera. I'm just a bit shaky on my feet. No, it's not letting me zoom on the camera. Stop there. Stop about there. Yeah, it is. It's coming up pixelated on the computer. I don't understand why, because it is actually high def, and on the phone itself it looks clear. I wonder, could it be the extra lighting? Did getting rid of the fill light make any difference? Okay, cool. So it's the fill light. Alrighty. So we've got that sorted. So let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. And if zoom becomes too problematic, it is a telescopic tripod. It's actually something I thought I'd never own. It's in fact a selfie stick. I'll show you. I kept the box. It's this selfie stick. Oh, how can I show you the best way? Let's see. Yeah, it's a selfie stick, and on the bottom it's got a little tripod. So yeah, never thought I'd own a selfie stick. But the bottom opens out to a tripod. The only thing they don't tell you when you buy it is that if you're pointing it down at a table, the whole thing's going to lose balance and fall over anyway. So I've got a big like lolly container, and I've got a couple of hair bands, and I've got it tied to the top of the lolly container, and then I've got a bag of rice sitting on the back of it so it won't fall forward, but I've got the whole thing sitting on an angle to try and move the camera out over the paperwork. So this is the project we started for Grace's Colouring Corner. It's a Crayola challenge. So this is all 100% Crayola. There's no blender, no nothing, just Crayola. And what I did was I did the navy blue up the top, and then I changed to like a normal blue at the bottom. What blue was that? Yeah, it just says blue, because I've only got the 50 pack of Crayolas. So I did the normal blue in the middle. And I liked that and all, but I just didn't want half a page of navy and half a page of plain blue. So I went back to the navy, and what I'm thinking I'd like to do is I would like to do the bottom bit in purple. And now, of course, we can't see that, but hey, what we're going to do, instead of trying to change the zoom, we're going to just move the camera a little bit. See if we can't make it. Okay, that's not going to work very well, is it? Right, move all these odds and sods. See if we can move the book further away. Yeah, I did like Crayolas, and I've got to be honest, I hadn't tried Crayolas until, well, I don't recall trying Crayolas until I started doing the colour book thing, and people were all, oh, Crayolas are really good. So it was about that time I decided, okay, well, I'll try these out. And you're right, they're really nice. But once you go to Prismacolors, then it's a bit hard to go backwards. They don't seem quite so cool once you go back to Prismacolors. And what I want to try to do, I can still see it on the computer there that it's a bit pixelated, but is that going to work, or is that going to wreck it? It's flooded. Come on, don't flood. I just need some light to work with. Just a little bit of light. Doesn't even have to be all that much. Alright, try pointing it up a bit. Yeah, look, I do too. I tend to be very heavy-handed most of the time with Prismacolor. I mash them into the paper until I make wax paper, basically. I'll try one more thing here and see if that helps. Hang on. Right, I don't know if that's going to help you. Just let me know if it does or doesn't. What I did was I lowered the resolution right down on the laptop. So hopefully that gives the phone some more bandwidth. Yeah, I like harder pencils. And I never knew the difference between what they call a wax crayon and, or like a wax pencil, and an oil-based pencil. And I was thinking, oh, these are all new things. These are brand new things. Never heard of this before. And then, of course, you get your Faber-Castell Classics and you go, yeah, well, these are the sort of pencils I know. And I knew my Derwents were like a wax base, and sort of hadn't really given it much thought. And when I tried the Crayolas, I was like, hey, these are pretty cool. But yeah, by then I'd already, by the time I'd bought Crayolas, I think I'd already bought Prismacolors, so I like playing with them. They do very well in the Millie Marotta books, actually. The paper seems to really like Crayola, and you can get a lot of depth out of them and push them around a bit, and they behave above their price point in a Millie Marotta book. Good morning, Robin. How are you, darling? Going BDD. Okie dokie. Going to BDD. I don't know what BDD is. and ladies too, I meant to say too, thank you so much for subscribing. I really, really appreciate it. I am just so stoked, and I cannot believe how many subscribers there are for just 3 videos. So, you know, thank you so much for sticking with me. And like I said, I will continue to try and improve. Hi, Katerina. How are you today? Oh, going to bed drowsy, Robin. Fair enough, darling. Well, if you're tired, sweetheart, get some rest. I know how that feels. Get plenty of rest and come back refreshed tomorrow. I've worked out at the moment that I can't actually get set up in my chair, so I'm sitting at the kitchen table. But I'll stream as often as I can. So don't fret, it'll probably take me a while to finish this little picture here off. Just rest up, Robin, and take good care of yourself, darling, and we'll see you next time. We'll still be here. So this picture here is for Grace's colouring corner, for her Crayola challenge this month. So I'd like to get this finished this month, and we don't have much of the month left. And I was working on a Kirby Rosenis for Sammy's colour along as well with Prismacolor, so sort of kind of want to get back to that too. But we'll try and get a little bit of this background done, because this is purple, isn't it? Please tell me it's purple. We'll try and get a little bit of this purple background done, and we'll see how we go. We might move on to another area, because the background's actually taken me longer than anything else so far. Oh, Elizabeth, I like looking at them, but to be honest, they terrify me. I love the artwork, and I love the pictures and how clever he is, but by the time I open the book and sit down, I get my colour pencils out and I look at it, and all of a sudden I go, oh no, what do I do now? And I just freeze, and yeah, I don't seem to move past that. Anamorphia, I was so desperate to colour it and didn't want to touch it all at the same time that I actually flipped to the last, like the end of the book, and started doing all the answers page. Just so I could say I had a turn. But I like Imagimorphia, which I showed in my top 10 that I'd take with me to a deserted island, because there's just something in there that, I don't know, my mind sort of gets past the overwhelming bit and goes, oh hey, isn't that cool? And I can see something there, and I can do my own thing in this section. And I think that's what sort of unlocks that book for me. It's just where you can see you can put your own input in, whereas I think all the little doodles and everything, yes, you can put your own colour in, but it's kind of like you're locked in, so your brain doesn't sort of fire off and go, oh, if we take this bit and we do that there, and then it'll look like this, and so you don't get that whole fire. I'm sure it will be, Elizabeth. I'm a nervous Nelly. It's like, and I look at a lot of my books like that, and it's just like, oh, I really like that, but I'm not game to touch it, or I can't work out what color it is. Oh, I have days here literally where all I want to do is color, and I will pick up a book, and I will open the book, and I will look through the book for a picture that appeals to me right then and there, and I'll go, nope, this isn't the book. And then I'll try another book, and I'll open that book, and I will spend hours looking at pictures going, yeah, no, that's all right, but no, that's not what I'm looking for. No, that's not it either. And in the end, I just go to bed frustrated because I've spent my entire day looking for a picture that wasn't there. So sometimes it's really fun to grab a picture that you don't like, or a picture that, for whatever reason, you think the page is ruined. It's not in this book, and I don't have the book on the table, but there was a picture in one book, and it was just another cheap $10 book, and I'd been playing with watercolours on one page, and of course the watercolours went through to the other side of the paper. And when I turned over the page one day, I came across it because I really wanted to colour, and I had that sort of stalewart going on where I just couldn't figure out what to do. And I saw this page, and it's got like all the watercolour has run through the paper. I thought, I'll have a go at that because the page just ruined anyway. So once I decided that the page was already ruined, it was a case of, well, I can't do any worse because the paper's ruined. And I really enjoyed that picture, and I used, because I had that freedom of saying it's ruined, but we're going to colour anyway. It also gave you the freedom to choose whatever wacky colours you wanted. And I did this big cat, and he came out really nice. And he was just so fun to do. He's like a bluey purple, and he's got green, and he's got like a nice dark red on him. He's all sorts of colours. I'm not even sure where I've put the book now. I had them all dragged out, then I dutifully went and put them all away. So I've just got to figure out which spot I put them in. But yeah, I think jumping in boots and all is probably the easiest way to get past it. But I'm putting a caveat on that, saying that if you're going to jump in boots and all and just do it, make it a picture that you don't like, or a picture that where you consider that the page is ruined, whether it be the paper's ruined or a pen's bled through the page or something, and then have a go at that one. Because then you can do whatever you want to do, and it doesn't matter what you do because it was already wrecked to start with. And the same sort of goes for this page. I didn't know what to colour in with the Crayolas, and I didn't know which page really that I wanted to basically sacrifice in the book to Crayola. And I just sort of went, well, I don't like this picture. So because I didn't like this picture, I was like, well, just do it with Crayolas, and if you mess it up, well, who cares? You didn't like the page to start with, and you never know, you might be able to make something of it. So sort of leapt right in, and I was lucky because I already sort of knew that the bow was going to be red, because big red bow like that, I mean, like a big bow like that, it just sort of reminded me of like Minnie Mouse. So originally the dots were going to be white, but now I want to change them to an aqua. That's why they've got little bits of aqua on them. So let's see. So what I'm imagining with this picture anyway is that, seeing as she's a mermaid and there's all these stars and stuff around, and the stars go all the way down to the bottom, so it's not just like her top half is out of the water. So I'm figuring now that it's confetti. she's going for, you know, a night out on the town doing the red carpet walk or something, and this is all confetti. And it just so happens that the confetti is in different shapes. So it's not a nighttime picture, it's just confetti. Hi Rosalind, welcome aboard. It really isn't late. It's only about 8:45 here at night. But for me it was late because I've been trying to do this all day and the phone wouldn't stop ringing, and people were coming and going, and it's just like, and sort of when you think the day's finally done and, you know, it's the close of business for the day, so nobody's coming now, surely. No, then I get a phone call saying, hey, I'm going to come around to your place, I'll be there in 15 minutes. So I sat and I waited and I waited. I even put the kettle on, and then they didn't arrive, and it was a rather important visit, so I was like, okay, I'll wait. Then they rang me back about 3/4 of an hour later and said, oh, I'm still coming, I've just got to go and do a few things first, and then I'll be at your place. So, and it was somebody actually doing me a favour, so a huge favour. So if this ends up going for a couple of hours, I'll tell you about the rabbit hole of, put it this way, I'm thinking about changing my name to Alice. I've been down a bit of a rabbit hole lately. So one of the girls on their way home from work today actually dropped a walking stick off to me because mine went missing last week. And I live in a 2-story home, so the bedroom's upstairs. So I'll let you think about the complications that brings with it. Ah dear. So yes, one of the girls just said, "Oh look, I've got a stick here, and on my way home from work, I'll just call past and drop that off for you, so you can get upstairs tonight." So it was lovely. I hope I said hello to everyone, and I hope I said thank you to everybody for subscribing and joining in, because this is a hoot, absolute hoot. I am very tired at the moment because of sleeping issues, but that's okay. I just wanted to get some colour on the paper and see how we went. And I've been itching to do this since last week, because when I started in the first live stream, which was absolutely hilarious, I had that bouncy wire type phone holder. It sort of comes around in a big spiral when you get it, and you can unfold it and you can clip it on your desk, and it just sort of hangs out in the air. And you think, yeah, that'd be great, but every time you touch it, it'd bounce and carry on, and I just couldn't get any joy with it. And then I couldn't zoom at all on the phone, and so my first aim last week when I went shopping was, first port of call was, we have to get a new tripod. And of course, like, I live in Australia, so I started at the $2 shops. Let's go to all the $2 shops and see what we can find. And nobody had anything, which I was really surprised about. So on the way to the final $2 shop, in the middle of the shopping centre, there's one of those little kiosks where they sell like mobile phone covers and that sort of thing. And just like a shining beacon, from a mile away, you could see this little tripod standing there with a phone in the top of it. I was like, oh, that'll be perfect. That'll be absolutely perfect. And you could see that it would tilt forward so that it would look down at your workspace. But like I said, it's actually not designed to do that. Well, it is designed to tilt forward, but it's a selfie stick, so you're supposed to be holding it out like this, and it would tilt forward at the end, so it would look at you. But when you stand it upright, the whole thing just wants to fall over. So it's working. It's just not as ideal as I first thought it was. and the only thing it does is tilt forward and back. There's no rotation or anything. So a little bit hard to adjust the camera angle, but we're going to make it work. So what are all you girls working on? Have you got any special projects going at the moment? Or any book in particular that you're trying to work in or you're dying to work in? Yeah, it is, Elizabeth. It's a really funny setup here because I've got it strapped down to a lolly tin, but I've got a roll of greaseproof paper or baking paper underneath to keep it tipped on an angle, and I've got a bag of long grain rice. I've got a 500-gram bag of long grain rice strapped to the top of the far side of the tin so that the whole thing won't topple over because I needed a counterweight. Oh, good girl. I don't own that book, but it looks awesome. That looks absolutely awesome. That's got the hippogriff in it. It's another book on my wish list. Haha. I have a very long wish list. Oh, the girl with the apples, are they in, is that the one where she's sitting on a half barrel? Oh no, Serena's beautiful. You're so lucky, Katerina. That is a gorgeous book. When I started buying these colouring in books, I just bought all the basically any book that was at the checkout or in the magazine section, I bought. Um, but what we did was every time we went shopping, which was only once every couple of weeks, I'd go to the magazine section because I don't normally buy magazines, but I'd go to the magazine section and I'd have a look for all the colouring in books, and I'd have to look through every single one of them every single time, and I would pick the one that most appealed to me that I didn't already have. And because that way you get the one you want, and if there's something else there that you want, well, then you're just going to have to take the chance that it's going to be there next time. And that's how I built up my little collection. And I was doing that, and then Coles stopped selling them. I was like, oh no. And they told me that the whole craze is over. Nobody's buying them anymore. So I went to a bookstore. For the Australians, they'll understand what QBD is. And I was having a look at the prices there, and they were quite pricey. And I was like, oh, I don't know that I want to pay $20 for a book. You know, that, yes, it's nice and all, but $20 or more is just a little bit rich. And so off I trot, and I went to a shop. I don't know if you have it over there, but it's called Big W. It's like Target. It's like Target without the shopping centre, like without the grocery section. And I had a look there, and Big W was also offloading all their books because the publishers have told them that the craze has died out now, and so they were in panic mode. And a lot of the books that I could have bought at the bookstore for $20, Big W had them all for $5 each. So I was like, oh, $5 each, and I knew some of these books were great, and I just went, oh, okay, all right, you can get 2 to 3 at a time. So slowly built my way up. You're right, Rosalind. The craze will never die. See, what happened is, in my mind, and this is the way I explain it, is all of a sudden they came out with these great adult colouring in books. And of course, everyone went, oh, I've got to have some of those. I need some that are in this style. I need some that are in that style. I just want some that are clip art. And everybody went and grabbed a range of books to work on. And the publishers went like, oh, this is great. They're all selling like hot potatoes. And of course, a lot of the books we bought all had like 50 pages in them. But what they haven't taken into account is that it can take you, 2 weeks to do a single page. In a 50-page book, it's going to take us over a year. Oh, well done, Rosalind. That's great. I think I paid for Joanna's books. I think I paid about $14 a piece. It's somewhere between $12 and $14 a piece. But for all the Angela Porter books, Game of Thrones, Throne of Glass, all of those sorts of books, I only paid like $5 a piece. No, it won't die. It'll just take us forever to colour them. So once you've sort of got a nice range of books, then the buying slows down a bit, and you start to become a bit more choosy about what you're buying and what you're colouring. And that's why I spend a lot of time looking at the book, trying to decide, will I really use that book or not? I mean, some of the books I've got, I probably will never colour in. Or I will use them when I want to test something out. I bought some books that I thought were really nice, and the paper on them is almost mirror finish. So they don't like pencils at all, but I figure one day maybe if I try, textures or something, they might work for that. So I kept them in the cupboard. They'll be all right. Bought most of my books from Book Depository. Oh, that's great, Rosalind. I've never bought from them. I didn't know they existed, and I think, who was it? I think it was Peter Hewitt that actually said about the Book Depository. So I've got them bookmarked now. And I was watching a stream the other night. Oh, let's see if I can see my bookmarks. That'll be interesting. Bookmarks. Up there. Over here somewhere. In there. What's it called? There's one called bookoutlet.com. I think it's an American site because they've got free postage for America and Canada. And I was watching a young lady the other night, and right at this second, for the life of me, I can't think of her name. But she was saying about the bookoutlet.com. The prices are really, really cheap. The catch is you pay for postage by weight. Yeah, Rosalind, I normally, if I want a book, I'd buy it on eBay. If I could find it on eBay. But I got distracted with the whole let's drop all the prices down to $5 a book. So a lot of the books that were out there that I really loved, I sort of overlooked them because, hey, some of the books are, $20, and my all-time favourite book, of course, well, that was just over $40. And I was like, well, I think we'll just concentrate on the $5 books for a little while. So I think I've pretty much exhausted the $5 pile. So now I can actually get on to buying books that I love. And your taste changes too as you sort of get into it. When you start out, and I suppose it's a bit of a trap really, because when you start out you just buy everything. Absolutely everything. Doesn't matter what it is, we'll buy it. And then after a little while, you start to look at things and recognize what it is that you like about a picture, or what style of books you like and why you like them. And if you can start to figure that out, it's going to make your shopping experience so much easier, and you're not going to spend quite as much money, but you're only going to buy things then that you really like and that you're really going to colour in. My favourite, absolute favourite, I've never coloured in it and I probably never will, but it's the Minuet Debonair. So it's just awesome. At Ollie's. Okay. I'm going to write that one down. I don't know if that'll work in Australia. $1.99. That's incredible. That just doesn't happen over here. Oh, no, that is awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's a lovely book too. Oh, okay, Elizabeth. Oh, well, that's no good to me then. All the way on the other side of the planet. But I'm still very pleased that you girls are sharing that information between yourselves, because that might help somebody else that's here in chat. I don't know, I'm bored with purple at the moment, just because the page is looking really dark. Let's get some colour on there. Gotta get some colour on this thing. So what should we work on, girls? What do you think should be next? We might get a little bit of height, because oh no, we're all height. We've got as much height as we're going to get. Oh, thank you, Rosalind. It's not quite finished, but it's getting there. It's going to be a bit of a fussy thing. We can give that a go if you like. Keep working on a tail. All right, we can keep working on a tail. I somehow like that idea. Now, what to do? This is the question. That's all right. Now I've got to think about it. Well, I think all the light is coming sort of from that way. So I think the outside of her tail here needs to be lighter. So we can just sort of just map this out a little bit and see what we can do. I think this is going to be the light colour. This book, I'm going to try and be brave and zoom out. Let's see if that zooms out or not. My computer says I'm still colouring in, which is really quite hilarious. So just give me a second. I'll wait and see if it zooms right out. Right. Apparently it hasn't. So give me a second. I'll stand up and we'll see what we can do. Dun, 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 dun. Keep zooming, keep zooming. Zooming all the way out. Look, 2 fingers, try. Okay, I don't know why the book doesn't fit in the screen anymore. It did before, and we're at maximum height. Oh, that sounds good, Katerina. Or Katrina, sorry. I'll have to try that. I've seen AliExpress before. I'm a vapor. So I have bought from overseas quite a bit. And I really have no clue why that hasn't zoomed right back out. Alrighty. I'll just give this thing another second to see if it's going to zoom right out or not, but I am thinking I'm going to change the setup. I'm sorry, girls, it's got to be done. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. I have a plan, but it's going to require moving things. So give me a second. Just things out the way and drop the laptop onto the table. All the way onto the table. Go, go, go. Before I drop you. Right. So I don't know if you can see, but this is what my tripod is actually sitting on, is one of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the entire tripod up. It's heavy because of the bag of rice sitting on the back of it. We're going to move these couple of bits out the way. Put that over there. Put that on top. Now we've got extra height. And hang on, we'll adjust the angle again. So we need, come on, down you come. We need a roll of paper. Roll of paper might be enough. Bum, ba-dum, bum. That's how it was set up originally. It was like before I went live. I did have it double stacked on the tins to get that extra height. But then I decided we didn't need all that height. I might just tuck that back in. Sorry, girls, I've got to move the camera. Hang on. I just have that pencil case tucked in under there because it's still attached to the cardboard. But the aim of putting it there is to prevent the roll of paper, lunch wrap or whatever you want to call it, from popping out from in between the 2 containers. So it can't run away. Now, what have we got? I think we need to level up a little bit. Okay, we've leveled up. Please tell me that's worked. No worries. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for coming. I will try and get more content up, and I don't know why this phone has decided now that it's no longer high enough. It's higher than it was the other night. It's well and truly above my head. I don't know what it's done. Oh, it says rotate device. Hang on. Try that, see if that's enough. No, it won't zoom out any further. At this rate, I'm going to have a huge tower sitting beside me on the desk. So the book is Colour to Create. I honestly cannot tell you why it's not tall enough anymore. So, it's just it says BMD Mind series up there. And it seems to be available in the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. It's down on the bottom half of the book. We've got all the little prices. So it's $13.50 in the US, $13.50 in Canada, $11.99 in Australia, and $13.99 in New Zealand. And I'm guessing it'll be £5.99 in the UK. So that's what I said. It's just a clip art book. So we'll get back to colouring because we're working on her tail. And I want to try something funky with her tail. I find that pencil again. Let's try and make sure she's on camera. What I'm kind of thinking is I want her tail to change colours as we go. But I'm going to put a little bit of light on here. And we might try to make her tail. We might go with this zigzag pattern that they've got and see if we can make it look kind of zigzagged. So this side would be dark because the light's coming from here. Just a bit hard with a finger. Big buffy finger. So if the light's coming this way, this side of her tail will be light. And, sorry, I'm shaking like a leaf. I see her tail is going up and down like that. So this side should be light and this side will be dark. That's just the way my brain's computing it. Elizabeth, I hope you have a stellar day. An absolutely stellar day. I'm going to add some light to this section as well. I'm just putting in a little bit down there to remind us what we're doing. And the tricky bit is all the lighting changes around this side. So that's going to be fun. So our next colour will probably be more in our aqua. Oh, actually no. I want to go darker again. So I'll start pushing it right up into those darker colours in here. And it's funny working with different pencils. Depending on what pencil, like brand of pencil you're using, and it's not even so much the brand, it's how it's made. If it's a low pigment pencil, what it really means is that you're not getting as much colour when you colour in on the page, and it also means that the pencil's got a lot more filler in it than a highly pigmented pencil, like your Polychromos or your Prismacolors. So, when people tell you with their, you see, watch different reviews and they'll say, oh, you know, put down a layer of the lightest colour first. That's all well and good if they're working with really highly pigmented pencils where they can come back in and add a million layers and come out with excellent results. But sometimes with cheaper pencils, they've got so much filler in them that you're not going to get the depth of colour that you want by putting down your lightest layer first. Now, I know that I want this section of her tail over here to be a little bit darker than that, but there's no point trying to do that with this pencil because it's just not going to happen. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come in with a slightly darker pencil again and add to it. And we're going to build on that darker layer. But if you were to start with your lightest one and just build up from the lightest, in the end it will let you down because you're going to run out of tooth on your paper to hold the colour that you want it to. And I'm going to give you a really easy way to think about tooth of the paper. I don't know if you've ever owned a cat or a dog, or you've just owned a really dirty hairbrush. But if you imagine the page or the surface of the paper to be like a hairbrush, right? And imagine that you've brushed hair until the hairbrush is absolutely full. And you probably couldn't hold, there's not even enough space left in your hairbrush for it to go through your hair anymore. That's what the tooth of the paper is basically like. So when you go over, you're basically running your pencil through the brush. So when you've got an expensive pencil, or not so much an expensive pencil, but a highly pigmented pencil, you don't need to drop as much of the pencil into that brush. And therefore it's not going to fill up as quick. But if you sort of use the cheaper pencils, they've got all that filler in there, and it's just going to want to fill up that brush really quickly, and you're not going to have any room to add depth. So that's the way I sort of look at it, is that if you're aiming to get a super dark, you're not going to do it with a cheap, like low pigmented pencil, by starting with your lightest colour. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit sneaky and plan what you're going to do in advance, and sort of go, well, you know, this bit up here is going to be the absolute darkest. So if this is my absolute darkest spot, then you kind of want to go in with your absolute darkest colour right from the get-go, and then just sort of feather out from that so that you can blend your other colours back into it. And it doesn't matter if it's an oil-based pencil or a wax-based pencil. It's all the same. So if you want super depth, then you're going to have to put your dark pencil down first. Just be careful about it. And there's other little tricks you can do too, like if say you're doing green. So we want to do a green leaf. But your green's not, the green in your pencil set, it's just not as going to give you the depth you want. It's not going to be anywhere near as dark as you want. So what you do first, and this is just indigo in my hand. So the first thing I'd say to do is that you could changing midstream here. I'll just move some things to move the book. I'll show you something. So say we wanted to do, well, when I can see where the book is, that would be helpful. Come over a little bit further until we kind of guess that we're in the right zone. Okay, so according to that, up here somewhere. So if I was to make this leaf green, and this was the darkest green that I owned, then what you could do is you could just put down a little bit of green, But we're just guessing at the moment that this is the darkest green I own. But, oh no. How am I going to get any depth in there if that's the darkest colour? What you can do is you put down a layer of the colour that you want first. And then you can come back with your darkest blue and just go over the top of it to help get some depth. Right. So I'm only trying to add a little bit of shadow in there. I know with the Prismacolor or something it's so much easier, but you can still do it with a cheap pencil. And then once you've got that down, you come back over it again with the colour that you actually want there. So you just using okay, blue and yellow make green, right? That's my logic. Blue and yellow are going to make green. So I want to go a darker green, so I'm going to add the darker tone, which is the blue. But if you don't put a little bit of the colour that you want to get, like the green down first, then this section would look very blue. So you just want to make sure you put down a little bit of the original colour so that the blue doesn't get sucked right into the paper first. Because once it gets sucked right in there, it's not going to budge. Because they're not as blendable. A lower pigmented pencil is just not as blendable as a highly pigmented pencil. So you can add shadow that way. That's probably the easiest way to think about it. Oh, no worries, Roslyn. Good luck with that. I pity my parents because I would never go to sleep as a child. Even now as an adult, I still won't go to sleep. I fight it all the way. I imagine as a child that I would have been one of those kids that would be like eating their dinner with their head falling in their plate of food. But anyways, I'll go back to working on the tail, but that's how I would get a really nice dark shadow. So it still looks green in there, it doesn't actually look blue. But that's how I get a really dark shadow when working with lower pigmented pencils. And there's another way to get really nice shadows. And they seem to match all the time. Well, so far for me they've matched all the time. And that's by using a complementary colour. So instead of putting down a blue, you could put down a red. But what it will actually give you, and it does work, but it will give you a brown. So you just sort of got to try things out a little bit on a piece of paper first and see what it is that you actually like and what effect you want to get. And if you just sort of think about, I don't know, as I work, you sort of look at it and think, well, you know, what's wrong with her skin colour? Does it need a little bit more red, or does it need a little bit more brown, or does she need a little bit more yellow or orange, and whatever you come up with that you think, oh yeah, I think it needs a bit more of this. It doesn't have enough brown, or it doesn't have enough red or pink. Then that's the colour you need to add. So you can normally work out what colour you're missing or what colour you need, and then you just put in a really light application of it. And that can sometimes just be enough. Because this is just the, don't have the box? The box is on the other side of the room. This is just the 50 set of Crayolas that you can get at Woolies for $20. You can get it at Kmart or any of those, $20 in Australia. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of that shadow back in there. Okay, with a bit of blue. Ah, I'm nearly off the screen. Jeez, just as well I thought it looked, wasn't it? Just move the book up a bit. So yeah, apparently I haven't got this Zoom thing sorted out yet, but I also have not downloaded any encoding software as yet, because I figured that it seemed to work all right the other day, so I don't know if I want to mess around with encoding software. But we might have to have a look, because maybe it's holding all the hidden secrets. See if we can't get this a little bit better for you. Is it still coming out really pixelated, or is it improved? Because I've lowered the resolution on my laptop right down to try to maintain the stream so that you girls will get a much better picture quality at your end. But it makes it very hard for me to judge the quality here. I don't know if that was for me or the 2-year-old. 2-year-olds are pretty smart. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Rosalind. We've got a show here in Australia called Home and Away. And one of the main characters tonight was getting married. And I think everybody must have been trying to stream it, because do you think I could get the internet to work? And because unfortunately I don't have any TV reception at the moment. That's another story. I was going to actually share that with you today. Because that's kind of, I don't know. I see the funny side of things, especially when everything's going just terribly wrong. I just tend to eventually get to a point where you stop and you go, this is just hilarious now. But yeah, no, I haven't had any TV reception now since like mid-April. So, I'm an inventive little sausage. So, yeah, I've been trying to stream it online, and so what ends up happening is the channel I'm trying to watch the most of, you just want to see the 6 o'clock news at night. You want to see the weather report. And of course, oh, now my phone's going to start sending me alerts all the time. Of course, you're trying to stream your 6 o'clock news or something, and it's like, oh, great, the weather's about to come on. But before they read the weather, every time before they read the weather, right after this commercial, every time. And the TV will be playing fine, like you'll be streaming the TV fine through the computer, and then it'll cut to the commercial break and it'll play fine for the entire commercial break. And then you come back from commercial, and then you get that stupid loading thing because it's decided it's going to have a hiccup every time it comes back from the commercial break. So it's like, no. And by the time it decides to come good, it's like, and thanks for joining us, we'll see you tomorrow. And it's just like, oh no, I missed the weather. It's not that it's vitally important, but I really want to see what's happening. I just like to know what's coming so I know what to expect. But yeah, constantly seem to be missing the weather, and it's just driving me bonkers. So I was trying to watch Home and Away tonight so I could watch this young lass marry her boyfriend, and mum's dying of cancer, and the whole thing's tragic. But they sort of raced the wedding through so that the mother could be at the wedding, and it would cheer her mum up. And it's like, Ziggy's wedding. Oh, we've got to watch that. And the whole thing, all the time, it just kept pausing, and you just get the spinny wheel, and it's like, oh no. So it's all right. I'll have to watch it, stream it again later. But yeah, it's just hilarious. It just keeps doing it. So yeah, the aerial stopped working last April, like the mid-April, and then there's sort of a bit of an argument, or a bit of a tennis match going on as to who was responsible for the repair of the antenna. So it's gone around like the three different people that sort of help look after the building as to who actually owns the antenna, who needs to pay for the repairs. Well, I'm not paying for the repairs. They don't, it's so and so's responsibility, and so it's just been going round and round for months. So, anyways, at the start of May, there was one of the cable companies over here had a big sale on for the end of financial year. So you could sign up to a really cheap basic cable. It's like $24 a month, and it really is very basic cable. So, but it was no locking contract and no setup fees, and my big question is, does it come complete with free-to-air television? And they're like, yes, it does. Do I need an antenna to plug into the box to get free-to-air television? And they're like, no, you don't. It all comes through the cable. And I'm like, excellent, I'll have that then. So, one of the caveats that's on the application is that you must seek permission from the owners and the body corporates and the real estates and whoever else is involved. So, and you have to have that documentation in order for them to do an installation. So, I contacted everybody on the 3rd of the month. And we're not there yet. But we'll get to that story again later, because that was that's a bit of a nightmare, that one. It's been bouncing around in circles. So I think that was the mid-April, I think, is where I started going down the rabbit hole. Like I said, I'm changing my name to Alice. That's it. I'm done. So what was the next thing that happened? Oh, that's right. I'm getting this fantastic U-Butte mattress, right? And I've had a mattress on loan, so it's really inconsequential in the end. Like, it's just a big snafu, but the end result is rather inconsequential as to how it's going to affect me in the short term. But anyways, I had this mattress on loan. It's a medical mattress. I had that one on loan, and they finally mine had finally come in, and they delivered it, and they said, we're going to come around and deliver it. And like, sorry, there goes that phone again. The young bloke brings the mattress in. He says, all right, first I've got to take the one off the bed that's up there at the moment. And so he goes up and he has a look. He lets all the air out of this mattress thing. He carts it all the way down to the van. Of course, he had to unmake the bed to do that. So he carts it away. And then he brings the new one back up, back in. I bought all the bits and pieces that go with it first, and then he went down and he picked up this mattress and brought it up. And I looked at him and said, geez, they look really small when you hold them up in the air like that, don't they? And he says, oh, yeah. He says, oh, I guess. Yeah, could be. So then he puts it on the bed, and he has to remake the bed, of course. And I looked at him and went, that does look way smaller than the other one. What size is that? And it turns out it was the wrong size. So this poor bloke, he had to unmake the bed again, take the thing off, ring the office and sort of say, hey, what's going on here? And then he had to take that one, cart it all the way back down to the van, get the original one out, bring it all the way back up and remake the bed again.
Poor guy. So I have not, they said they'd call me the following day, but I have not heard a word since because it's taken them months to get the first one in, so, and it was the wrong size, so heaven only knows how long it's going to be until it actually arrives. But the one that I've got on loan is identical to the one that they're bringing, so as I said, it's inconsequential. It's just hilarious and, second step down the rabbit hole. Let's see. Oh, is it all pixelated again, Rosalind? Oh, no, it says you can see clearly what's going on, though, but it's pixelated. Okay. I have no idea how to fix that now. Hi, Shailene. How are you, darling? I still can't figure out the zoom, And it all fitted in the screen earlier, too. And then it decided it wouldn't, so we had to sort of put the camera up higher. How have you been, darling? Are you good? How are you, doll? have to get the Australian slang in there, How are you, doll? What do you know? It's like, g'day, mate. Oh, dear. I'm good, thank you. Having a really down the rabbit hole time today. Oh, for the last week or more, month or more. So where are we up to? Yep, the antenna's buggered. The bloke came with the wrong mattress size. Let's see what else happened. That's right. Then I bought that bouncy tripod. That was all sorts of fun, wasn't it, Charlene? Charlene, this is where is it? Let's see. I know it's sideways, but it's going to fit on the book. That's what I've got now. It's it's actually a selfie stick that turns into a tripod. So that's what I'm using at the moment. But of course, as soon as you try to point it down at the table, the whole thing falls over. So I've got it strapped down to a lolly tin, and I've got the lolly tin up on its side so that the whole thing leans forward, and a bag of rice on the back end to hold it steady. Needed a counterweight. So that's the one I'm using at the minute. I'm sure we'll find another solution at some point. Yeah, it's just a selfie stick, and the little legs, these little legs on it, when they fold down, it just makes it like a solid handle, like a broom handle. So, like you can see there, it just folds up like a broom handle, and you wouldn't know that they split unless you went looking for it. It doesn't feel like there's like the three splits in it as you're holding it. So, but it's telescopic. Oh, let's see if I can stop that. Hang on. Let's see. Let's hope that the phone stops making that dreadful noise now. It's actually my alarm clock. And it says, go to bed, no excuses. And I ignore it. I set the alarm myself, but I ignore it. Oh, dear. So, yeah, no, that's my little tripod that I'm using at the moment. So where were we up to? We were up to, bouncy tripod. So, yeah, last week I went shopping, and first thing on the top of the shopping list, what was it? Buy a new tripod. So off I trot, and we bought the tripod, and that was all good. And by the time we were leaving, we were running late leaving because I only get a very short amount of time to do shopping. It's probably a long amount of time, but for me it always seems like a short amount of time because I only get a couple of hours. So we're leaving and we're in a hurry and everything, and I won't go into all the details, but made sure that the walking stick was in the trolley, and when I came home I didn't have a walking stick. So that's been a bit of I keep using that word because it's a very Australian word, and it's not a nice word anywhere else in the world. Because I was going to say it's been a bit of a bugger, but other countries seem to think bugger is a swear word, and it probably is if they use it in the way it's meant to be used. But for Aussies, it's just I don't know what other word to put in its place. I will think of one. I'm reasonably articulate. I'm pretty sure I can think of a word to replace it. I'm just going to have to think on that one for the minute. So yeah, I hadn't had a walking stick for a whole week. So that was last week, and of course we lost the walking stick. And if that wasn't bad enough, that night I then decided to try and read my book on my actual Kindle instead of on my mobile phone. So then what do you think happened? Well, my book wasn't on my Kindle, it was only on my phone. So, okay, if anyone actually has a Kindle, they'll go, oh, yeah, that's an easy enough thing. All you do is go to your library and download it. Takes 2 seconds. It's easy peasy. Not an issue. Well, I couldn't find... This is just... it's so tragic, it's funny. Okay, I'm one of these people, when things get that tragic, it's just absolutely hilarious. So, right, there's no Wi-Fi, and I decide, okay, I'm sitting right next to my router. Let's see if we can find let's see if we can find a Wi-Fi network now, considering the Kindle is right next to the router. And it still says no. It can't find any Wi-Fi signal anywhere. Now, what do we do when there's a problem and you don't know the answer? We just Google it. So I Googled it. And it's like, oh, yippee, look at this. Amazon has the answer I'm looking for. Excellent. You have a look at Amazon and they go, look, this is a common issue. A lot of these common issues can be resolved by simply restarting your device. Hold the button at the bottom, like the power button, and it'll come up on the screen and will offer you some options. You can restart or shut down. Just choose restart. Hi, Amy. So, this totally fixed my device, of course, because, like, the no Wi-Fi issue is no longer a problem, because now it's bricked. And it just constantly says, just please wait a moment while your Kindle starts up. So, yeah, Amazon customer service really helped fix the problem because, yep, the problem no longer exists because the device is now wrecked. And don't get me wrong, I'm furious. But what else do you do, hey? It's just, oh, as I say, it's a down the rabbit hole type of month for me. It's all sorts of fun. So, and I even tried, because someone on YouTube, because when all else fails, go to YouTube. Someone said if you plug it into your computer and then find your My Kindle Documents file on your device and just move them straight out of the device back onto your computer so the device is empty, it will then reboot. Well, I tried that and my computer just sat there and went ding, 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 ding. And it went like that for like half an hour. And I only had the device plugged in for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I just went unplug it because it was going, new device. Oh, it's gone. Oh, new device. Oh, it's gone. New device. Oh, it's gone. So that's why my computer's just sitting there pinging me the whole time. And I unplugged it. It took a good half hour for it to stop. So, oh no, don't tell me I've killed the computer now too. So I haven't worked out what to do with that just yet. But, oh, all sorts of fun. If it doesn't rain, it pours. So, no, Charlene, can't use it like that at all. But, I'm sort of, I'm sort of looking at the bright side. I've still got the phone, I've still got the tablet, I've still got the computer, and I can read my Kindle on all of those. I'm just going to have to miss my device for a little while, either until I can get somebody to fix it or until I can afford another one. So, but yeah, when life's just a comedy of errors and it's just like, oh no, what else could there be? So, I tell you what, it's just too funny. So, anyways, yes, Amy, you're exactly right. It's a pain in the butt. So, let's see what else happened, because this rabbit hole just continues. Like seriously. Oh, that's right. We're back to the cable company. Well, you see, with this, that's the idea of let's get cable to get around the antenna problem that occurred last April. So yeah, alrighty. So trying to get authority for that. Everyone's like, oh no, I haven't heard from so and so. You need to contact them, and so this circle's been going round and round and round, and the cable company keeps booking me in for an install, and I have to keep ringing the cable company, going, hey, I'm terribly sorry about this, but still haven't got it through all this red tape. So they were going to do an install today, because I mean, like, the day is well and truly over here. It's nearly 10 o'clock at night, but the install was scheduled for this morning, and anyway, so on Monday I rang them and I said, look, I'm so sorry, but I still haven't got through all the red tape. There is no way we can do an install without getting through all this red tape. And they said, oh, okay, would you like a new appointment? I was like, oh, yes, please. And she said, well, hang on a minute. I'll just see what I can do for you. She said, no worries, we'll make another appointment, don't worry. And, she was very understanding and all, and she comes back to me. She comes back to me and she says, oh, hang on. There's no appointments available before August. Hang on, let me have another look. Oh, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, no. I'm so sorry, there are no no appointments available for an install. To have like an installer come out now. Clear through December. So there goes my quick and simple fix. And ironically, they actually delivered the set-top box that's required today. So, yeah, I just thought that was funny. Like, I mean, I can see the funny side in things. It all goes horribly wrong, and when it goes wrong in spades. They have since, though, found me. Today they found me an appointment for the 17th of next month, and apparently the paperwork made a move today for permission to have it installed on the building. So things just are starting to look up today, but I tell you what, it's been a hell of a ride. So that's why I said I'm changing my name to Alice, and I'll be I've just been going down the rabbit hole. Oh, Shailene, I am mad. Don't get me wrong. It's just I've had so many things go wrong one after the other. I haven't caught up yet, if that makes sense. So I'm still busy being mad about my antenna that went out in April. And I was, mad that my walking stick didn't make it home with me from shopping because I live in a 2-story apartment and can't get up to bed. So it was, what's the name? That was sort of a higher priority than I can't read my book on this device. Oh, yes, Amy, hang on a minute. I'll be right back. I'll show you one. Hang on. Oh, gotta go out to the garage. Hang on. It's in the garage, I'm sure of it. Come on, buddy. Yep, not going anywhere. Come on. Come on. Thank you. Alrighty, I'm back. So, Amy, I take it this is what you mean. One of these bendy things and it all unwinds. It's actually very stiff. But this is what I was using originally as a overhead mount. And the problem is that when you touch it, the whole thing goes boing, boing, boing. And even if it's all straight, it just goes boing, diddy, boing, boing, boing. So this is what we used for the first live stream. So it was an epic fail. That's why we've gone for something a little bit more concrete. The device, like the clamp thingy, will hold your phone, but the minute you put your phone in it, the whole thing will sag. Yeah, I've got I actually I ordered two. I'm not silly. I ordered two clamps onto the table, which is fine. And it's just got like a blunt rubber cap over the end of it. And then you curl it up tight like that. And, well, they show it all spiraled up, but it's a lot harder to bend than you would think, considering how flimsy it actually is. But yeah, you can tie it up, like wind it round, and then just stand it on a table, or you can hang it, sling it around your neck. They open really wide. So it opens fairly wide. So it should work with most phones. The one thing to take into consideration is, are these little clips going to interfere with your power button and your volume button? Because I know even with the clip that I'm using at the moment, I wanted to put the phone in it up the other way, but if I do that, the little clips on there will actually turn the phone on and off and mess around with the power button and like the volume button. Yes, Amy, mine is the metal bar. It's just plastic coated. It's a plastic coated metal bar, and you can bend it. It is firm to bend, like it's very firm to bend. And it's so firm to bend that if it's clipped to the table at the time when you are bending it, the clip will actually spin around and pop off the table. So you've kind of got to be careful when you're using it. But once you sort of get it out, this bit here is not the sturdiest. So I don't know. What can we clip in it? Here, look. See if we can get a little bit of height on it. Just a little bit of height on it. And right, so I'm holding the base firm on the bottom of the table. So take my word on it, I'm holding it firm on the bottom of the table. Right, if I take this and I just put my house phone in it, not that it's designed for that, but the minute you put your house phone in it, it's sitting there without weight. The minute you put your phone in, it does that. And then you've got to try and jigger with it to get it to back up to where you want. And it's very, very bouncy. And every time you even touch it just a little bit, the whole thing bounces up and down. No, Amy, I had a hard time bending it. It is doable, but it's the sort of thing that once you get it bent, you want it to stay where it's put. The other downside, because I've got fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, right? So I don't need something that I have to stuff around with a lot. So if I have it set up on the side of the table, because this table is right beside my recliner, but if I have this set up on my table and I've got it hanging over my recliner so that it's facing me so that I can see what's happening, then you've got to get out of the chair. Now, getting out of the chair, you can't just swivel this thing. It doesn't swivel. The only way you can get out of the chair then is to bend it out of your way. So if it's just above your head, like hanging in front of you, like say you were for filming and you had it hanging over you like that, if that's really close to your hair gets caught in it every time you go to get up. And there's not much you can do about it except move it well and truly out the way, which means you've rebent it. If it's sitting in front of you like that, the only way to get past it, unless you can duck around the side of it, the only way to get past it is to actually bend it out of your way. So you're constantly having to reset it. It'd be all right if you wanted to attach it to, say, your bedside table and hang it so that the phone was over your head on your pillow, so that it's not so hard to get out from underneath, and you're not having to relocate it every time you wanted to come and go. But yeah, if it's going to be right in front of your face in like your lounge chair, it's just not gonna work. But yeah, if you were setting it up permanently, say like on the far side of your kitchen bench, so that you could read your recipes or something, and you didn't have need to touch it or move past it, it'll be fine. It just depends what you're actually doing with it, because it's just one of those things. It's great to do exactly what it's designed to do, but if you try to modify it, it just gets a little bit yuck. Alrighty, I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm not going anywhere really. I'm just refreshing the page because I can't see the screen anymore. It's on a loading screen. So just give me 2 seconds and I'll sizes too. The one I've got coming is it's just got a little like plastic rubber cap over the end. And I thought that would be handy because it rolls up and you can fit it in your handbag. And you could then hang it round your neck if you wanted to. when you're, out. Like, for example, because the example I typically use is like if you're sitting around the waiting room in the hospital and your arm's sick and tired of holding your phone up here, you could have it sort of sling off your shoulder or from around behind your neck and swoop up in front of you so that it could hold your phone. But, yeah, unfortunately, they're not as adaptable to different applications as I was hoping. But that's all right. We live and we learn. I will find a way to use it downstairs, and or actually what I might do is I might clip this one, because they're both about the same length. They're both over 1 metre. And 1 metre sounds terribly long, but I'm glad I didn't buy anything shorter, because I think the shorter they are, it wouldn't have been long enough to hang out over. Like, it wouldn't be long enough to hang from your bedside table out over your head so that you could watch your movie or whatever. Wouldn't be long enough to go from the side table to the middle of your chair sort of thing, so that you're at a comfortable viewing angle either. Just little things like that. So I was happy with the length. Yeah, I totally hear on that, the no strength in the arms, Amy. I was laughing at myself last week because I couldn't open the kitchen cupboard. It's not a particularly difficult cupboard. It's just a standard cupboard, but my arms just, at that point in time, just said, nope, not working. And I was like, oh no, now what do you do? So that's all good. You just sort of have to, adjust a little bit, or decide whether or not whatever was in the cupboard's really that important. Because my arms are quite funny. I don't know if any of you have like chronic fatigue or that, but what'll happen is I will, one day here, for example, I was on YouTube and I used to love to crochet, and I still enjoy crocheting, I just don't do it. But there was this girl and she was making a corner to corner rug, and the whole thing was done in trebles, but it was like she was working in these tiny little squares. Give me a minute. Oh, here, look, where's the post-its? Right. So she's working in these little squares in treble, right? So you start in like one corner and you do your little square, and then when you go up to do your next row, then you do your square here, and then the next square would go here, and it's all just, you should do like the trebles and then chain up here. So she could drop a square off here and then do a trebles down here, do a trebles down here, and then she'd chain off to do the next bit and treble back into that and work her way up. And I thought, what a nice idea, because by the time you've got the right width that you want and the right length that you want, well, you're halfway done. So every row thereafter gets smaller and smaller. And I thought, I like that idea. So I made a test page, just like a little test square, and it was only a swatch about this big. It took me about half an hour, if that, because when I crochet what they call gammy-handed. So I wind up holding my work sort of there in my hand, and and I crochet like that with my hand goes backwards and forwards. So I work from behind, whereas most people like my grandmother, etc., would all work from the front like that. I can't do that. It's just very slow for me. So when I crochet, I actually hold my hand like this and go woof, 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 woof. And I just have to swing my hand. So it's normally something that I can do very quickly. So anyways, I made this nice little test square, and I thought, oh, that's really handy dandy. I like that. And then that was all good. And I put it in my little kit bag so that I'd be able to pull it apart later, or at least look at it later, and figure out how I made it. And then, it's like I've got that pattern for life now as long as I keep that test square. So, it takes about 3 days, right? So about 3 days later, I am looking at my arms and my hands going, what on earth is going on? What did I do? And I had to rack my brain to think what I had done with my hands and arms, because 3 days later my arms and hands were just refusing to work. And it's like, I don't know. See, because I laugh at these sorts of things too. Sometimes I go to make toast in the morning or something, and some days they're making 4 slices of toast is like an endurance sport. And it's just like, come on, hands, do what I want you to do. So yeah, sometimes you just give up and go up. It's too much trouble, and off you go and you find something else to have instead. Now that should be light, so that should be dark. I passed out and fell today. Oh no. In the docks. And again at the chemist. Oh no. Oh, Amy, that's terrible, darling. Oh, sweetheart. Do they know what's causing it? Yeah, I don't leave the house. Amy, I don't leave my house now without a nurse. It's that simple. Unless I have someone to help me when I'm out, I will not go. Because I've been there and I've done that, and you find yourself in a whole world of trouble, and then what do you do after that? Good on you, Amy. I'm pleased you're laying down now. Oh dear. Do they know do they know what's causing the problem that's causing you to fall, or is it a work in progress? Is it like you're fainting, or is it like chronic fatigue where all the energy just gets sucked out of your body all of a sudden and you hit the deck, or so many things. I used to think it was my blood sugar, and I actually went out and bought one of those little test kits where you prick your finger to test how much sugar's in your blood. And because I used to get really dizzy all the time and like go to blackout, people would be talking to me, the next minute I'm sitting cross-legged on the floor. So I started testing my sugar all the time and it was fine. So they still have no clue. Oh, Shailene, what have you done to your arm? Oh, okay, Amy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, yeah, that pituitary gland. Don't talk to me about that thing. Oh, that's responsible for all sorts of things. They tell me mine works. It just doesn't have the chemicals to send messages where they need to go. Apparently my pituitary gland is working. It just doesn't have the... See, like when your pituitary gland is right in the base of your skull. I'm sure Amy knows, right? But let's for a minute. I'm going to assume this is my brain, right? I've got this small brain. This is my brain. Okay, but if my brain wants to send a message somewhere else, to get it from to any other part of your body, your pituitary gland has to have these chemicals that go. There's a couple of chemicals actually. Have to travel from one section to another. And so apparently my pituitary gland works, but it just doesn't have those chemicals, so it can't send messages. Poor thing, it's still living in like the dark ages as far as technology goes. It can't even send a text. Oh, Amy. I hear you, sweetheart. I've got chronic fatigue and fibro too. Oh, colouring all day will do it, Shailene. Unless you're used to it. Yeah, Shailene, always, don't hold back, baby. Because I know it sounds stupid, but it always helps. It's not that we like that other people are in pain, but it always helps to know that you're not the only one. You don't have to go through it alone. Because it's not easy. Like, I suppose I'm lucky because I'm a bit funny when it comes to, unless it's affecting me right at that second, I don't think about it. So, if I'm sitting still, if I'm sitting perfectly still and everything's going okay, and I'm comfortable, then somewhere in my mind, I'm perfectly healthy. And then my mind will come up with all these glorious ideas like, oh, do you know what we could do? We could bake, or, oh, what I'd really like to do today. Seriously, at one stage, I just wanted to make a zucchini slice. And it's pretty easy. It's some diced bacon, some grated zucchini, grated cheese, some diced bacon, diced onion. You throw it all in a dish in the oven. Should be really simple. And for 6 months, my brain was so convinced that this was possible that for 6 months, every fortnight when I went shopping, I went and bought all the ingredients, and I just wouldn't have the energy to be able to do or get my body to do what I needed to get it together. And after 6 months, I just gave up buying all the groceries. And so I sort of laugh at it. I can laugh at it, but